Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I wanted to remind you of our Road to 1,000 subscribers giveaway that we have going on our YouTube channel. If you subscribe and have a public profile, you'll be entered to win a free RX Smart Gear original jump rope. You'll get to pick the pattern of the handles, the color and weight of the cable, and you'll be getting one of the best-selling, best-performing jump ropes out there. Every time we hit a new century mark with the number of subscribers to our channel, we'll randomly select a new winner. And our friend Dave Newman is going to throw in a little something extra for each winner. So a special thanks to our sponsor, RX Smart Gear, to Dave Newman for being such a great partner, and to you for being a loyal listener. Good luck, and I hope you are our next winner.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Clydesdale Fitness and Friends. My name is Scott Switzer. I'm your host. I'm the Clydesdale. We like to do fitness, and these are my friends. These are two new special friends, Nic Simpson and Olivia Sulek. I met Nic at Wodapalooza in the food court and got to sit down and chat with him for a little while. And that was pretty awesome. And we just kind of talked about Olivia a little bit and what she has going on. And we talked about coaching and the perspective that he has. And so I wanted to get them on to kind of talk about it again, only go a little bit more in depth and have them together to kind of discuss the relationship they formed and where Olivia is headed in the future. So welcome, guys.
Great.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So we were saying, Olivia, you are only 18 years old, but you have been around the sport for a very long time.
Yeah, so I first stepped into a gym when I was 11, and then I started competing when I was 14.
So when you went in as 11, were you doing other sports and this was just going to help you in like the off season, or you just liked fitness?
So yeah, I started just more for fun. I was doing gymnastics at the time. I didn't start CrossFit as an attempt to become a better gymnast. I like to preface, I was not a good gymnast at all. I just kind of was doing it because my sister did it. And I just kind of did CrossFit for fun, and it slowly took off after that.
So you started 11. What was the first moment you thought, hey, I could be kind of good at this?
It probably wasn't until I did my first competition, which was Wodapalooza in 2018. I had no idea how good I could be. I remember going to the 2017 games when I was 13 and having like no confidence in myself. I knew I was turning 14 the following year, and I could not see myself doing what the teenagers were doing at that time. So my belief wasn't very high when I started, and it wasn't until I qualified for Wodapalooza, and I think I placed top 5, and then I got 3rd at Wodapalooza, and I realized, okay, I think I can do this.
So Nic, when did you first see Olivia and you see the potential in her?
When I first saw her, I was, I knew her and her mom because they were at the gym and Olivia wasn't. So I was actually at a gymnastic camp where Olivia was a participant. We were just talking about it today. We think she was 9 at the time. So, I mean, that was first time we like interacted. But when she started coming to the gym at our CrossFit Kids class, and I was just coaching the regular classes, the classes didn't line up perfectly. So basically the kids class, they had like a lingering 30 minutes. And this kid kept coming up to me and asking if there was anything else she could do to get stronger. And it was Olivia Sulek. And just, there wasn't anything physically outstanding, but just the work ethic, the interest in wanting to do more and be productive. And she took it all very, very seriously. And it didn't take long before I was kind of like, you should do a lot more of this and a whole lot less of anything else.
Did it take you all the way to Wodapalooza, or did you have an idea before she went?
I had an idea before that, because actually the year before that Wodapalooza, I was down there competing on a team, and I remember FaceTiming Olivia and her mom, and I like FaceTimed in a way where, the teens were behind me, and I was like, you could be out here next year. And, they were like, I can remember them laying on the bed and they were kind of like, oh, have fun. And then I got off the phone, I'm like talking to my wife and I'm like, she's going to be out here next year. And so just like small things like that, where I basically would just try to like deposit little seeds of confidence, or just like, I believed in her, she could do it. And then finding as many stories as possible, and just like brick by brick, she kind of built her belief. And then obviously doing some workouts and then like seeing her do comparatively good to some of the games level athletes. I was able to see that kind of as we were getting ready for Wodapalooza. So then obviously seeing it, Wodapalooza was the first time seeing it with my eyes, but I was hopeful before based on how she was doing.
So in 2018, you went to the games, and that would have been after that first Wodapalooza that gave you the confidence. Yeah. And you did okay. I believe you won.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first overall in the 14, 15-year-old division as a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
So what was that first experience like at 14 years old, going to the games and getting to stand on the top of the podium?
So first, I'll start by saying I remember when I was making the decision to switch to just CrossFit and stop doing gymnastics. And I remember this conversation very vividly. Nick came up and he was like, Olivia, I think if you keep on doing gymnastics, you can go to the CrossFit Games as a teenager. And I think if you quit gymnastics, I think you can win. And for me, I was like, yep, done, sold. And that was just kind of like the last straw. And I'm like, I'm investing in CrossFit, everything I have. So starting that 2018 season with Wodapalooza, doing pretty well. And then the Open, I won, which once again, my belief still wasn't fully there. So just continuing to build with the Open win and the online qualifier win. And then having that games win, it just, all the hard work pays off right there. It was definitely a surreal moment. One that looking back, I probably wish I would have soaked in even more than I did.
So as a coach, Nick, how do you take that win and build off of it?
Well, that was hard to do in the moment, honestly, because it was like Olivia said, I mean, it just kind of happens and it happens kind of fast. But before we actually won, one of the things because we were definitely watching Haley Adams and Kayla Stefano, and I was well aware that teenagers were not going straight to the games. There was some type of a drop off where athletes either getting burnt out or hurt or maybe just hadn't figured it out yet. And so I pretty much was telling Olivia and her mom, I was like, my goal was when you're 18 that you're able to compete. At that time, I was looking at regionals basically. And I was like, you want to be in that top 100 in your region, top 40, whatever, so you can compete 18, and start kind of building that way. So for her to win the games, it was after I had said that. So basically I just kind of clung back onto that where I was like, hey, this is a possible outcome of trying to be a professional athlete. You could win the teen games on the way up, but this isn't going to be your end goal. I had to kind of scramble because that's tough to go right into the sport and literally immediately get first. Because everything after that, anything other than first after that's difficult to manage. But just kind of held on to the big picture item of just, hey, you want to be a professional when you're 18, 19, 20. So, let's just keep doing it.
So the athlete has to be different to win the team games than the athlete needs to be to get into the open division and get to the open part of the games, right? The big dance. So I noticed the placings went down a little bit as you move through the teen division. Was that because you were building for 18 and the open division, or was it just something that happened along the way?
You gonna go first, Olivia? Or you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first. You take.
I think it was always big picture because for me, but still, it was very competitive, because then the following season, Emma Carey steps on, we were always very competitive with Mallory. There were some other names through the years that, we were very competitive with in the beginning. So it was definitely a blend. Big picture, I wanted to make sure Olivia was healthy, moving right, properly developing, understanding how she needed to eat, what was healthy for a female athlete as they're growing. We were interested in that, but then also, it was very competitive and we weren't interested in just showing up. We still wanted to compete to our best. So it was a blend and something that we figured out kind of along the way and just tried to do what made right with where we were at each year. And every single year was, is different. Now we're, having to deal with kind of COVID, that's kind of like the last 2 years that we've dealt with that. But then before that, Olivia's back was feeling achy. So we had to manage things that made sense for her just as an athlete, looking at big picture. And that's hard to do in the moment, but we tried our best,
And if just by what you said, and this isn't even in my notes, like that probably is the greatest time in female teen games history, right? Like Emma Carey, Mal O'Brien, Olivia, like you're talking some people moving into the top dog area up into the open division. And then last year you go up against Emma Lawson in a battle where you two dominate the rest of the competition by over 150 points. And so what was that head-to-head competition like? And did you gain something from being able to do that?
Yeah, so as far as like programming goes, Nic does it all and I just focus and, give it my all every day. So as far as what you were just talking to him about whether we're playing the long game or, focusing now, like Nic said, it's a blend of both. But as far as it goes for me, like just giving my all every day is what I do. And I let Nic kind of take care of everything else. But competing with Emma was an amazing experience. Obviously, I would have loved to have qualified as an individual or gotten the chance to compete with Emma and Mal again. But competing with Emma was a lot of fun. It was great to learn and, see where my strengths and weaknesses were. I definitely got better in a lot of areas. And even though we, like you said, dominated that division, those are still some great athletes that I got to test up against.
Yeah. And so I love what you said about that Nic does all the programming and you just come and work every day. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about this because in today's CrossFit, there are two camps, right? There's the camp where people are going to these camps and working out as a big team. And then there's the independents that are working out with just a sole coach. And I had Annika Greer's coach on a week ago. Mm-hmm. And we had a talk off air about how all the benefits of having a coach totally dedicated to you. Do you feel that? And is that the reason that you and Nic are just the two of you?
100%. I think me and Nic, we have a very special relationship. We met, I think, when I was 10, and I literally grew. He watched me grow. So we are so tight, just not only with him, but like his family. Like we really are a big family. And competitions are family, and like day to day we're family. And I think that, transfers over into training too. We genuinely care about each other. I get his attention. I get his time. He is so devoted to making me the best athlete that I can be. He's given up so much for that. And it's for sure why I've been with him for this long, just his dedication and commitment to me.
Yeah, I got the same sense from Annika that her dedication to Brett is like your dedication to Nic. Mm-hmm. That close bond in those one-on-one relationships just seems so strong. And there's no question that 100% of Nic is going to you.
For sure. And I think what's also great is like we've grown together. When I started CrossFit, Nic wasn't a world-renowned coach. He was just the closest guy around that could help me get better. So he would just kind of give me a few extra tasks to do, and we've really grown together. And I think what makes Nic so special is his desire to grow and learn. And I love how we're doing it together. I don't think that's something a lot of other people have.
So Nic, what do you do on the day-to-day to make sure you're giving Olivia the best opportunity as a coach?
Well, it's definitely day by day, because got a family and my wife's very busy. So Olivia and I communicate daily, definitely multiple times a day, trying to coordinate schedules. And when we can't coordinate, we use technology to our advantage. We're either sending me a bunch of stuff, but it's really just consistently making sure that I'm learning. I consistently follow several other programs. I listen to, there's so many coaches that I've either met or, there's even more that I admire that I just follow and listen and just keep my mind sharp. And it's just when I'm always thinking about it like that, I'm not thinking about anything else basically. So it's just kind of a constant thing that I'm making sure that I'm growing. I'm making sure that the things that I'm trying to list or that I'm trying to learn and share with Olivia, that they're landing with her, and that she's, you know, obviously she's not going to want to do every single thing she wants to do that I tell her to do. That's how training goes, but interested and understands what I'm trying to learn and why I think it's important. But it's day to day, just making sure that we're plugged in with each other and just, you know, realizing we're on the same team more or less.
So do you take care of everything from nutrition to programming or do you have other coaches that do specialize in those areas?
Olivia should shout out her nutritionist. She's got a coach that does her nutrition now. I just do the programming, and then, you know, just our regular relationship talks, and then just when I can share my experiences, I go from there. But Olivia has a nutrition coach.
And that is Olivia?
Yeah, so I work with Alexa Caldwell from Working Against Gravity. I've worked with her. She's great. So she helps me out with nutrition. And other than that, it's mostly a two-man team. I like to say my mom is probably the third person
Definitely.
during competitions and everything. My mom is always by my side, from something as simple as doing my hair. She'll drive me everywhere I need to go during competition. She'll cook all my food. So she'll book everything that needs booked. She is definitely a very, very big part of the team as well.
For sure. Yeah, she takes care of me too.
Everybody needs a mom. My co-hosts
sure.
make fun of me that because I have two female co-hosts and a male co-host, and my two female co-hosts say that I need a mom while I'm on the road, and they have to take that role because my mom isn't with me.
It's a huge X factor.
It is. And I'm not even competing. I'm just covering the sport. Yeah. So anyway, we talked about the year against Emma Lawson, but also in that year, you qualified for the semifinals in the individual thing, in the individual division at the MACC, and got to compete on that big stage at the MACC. What was that like? And what did you learn from that moment that you're taking with you forward?
So first, it was a big, big wake-up call. There were a lot of workouts that I did not do as well as I thought I would do. And it's very different from the teenagers, where as a teenager, I'm used to like leading the way, everyone chasing me down. And obviously when you're on the floor with like Tia, Brooke, Haley, Amanda, that's not the case. You know, I was more chasing them. So there were definitely some workouts that, I mean, day one, I straight up probably had one of the worst performances I've ever had. I definitely embarrassed myself on that floor. I had some good performances. I did pretty well in Gretel. But overall, it was just a stepping stone of like, okay, I can, you know, take this, move on. And even with not having some great performances, I was still able to like hang in there. I think I finished around like middle of the pack. So I'm still able to hang in there. I'm still within striking distance, knowing I have so many different things I can improve on.
And you were 17 at the time, right?
Yeah, I was 17.
Yeah. So, and you finished, I think 16th out of 30, which is pretty impressive at 17. And it was one of probably the toughest semifinal for women in the world. So
it was hard for sure.
So did you learn anything from like a preparation standpoint, like in between events, like how much rest you needed, how much you had to fuel, things like that? Was that different than the teen division, or was it pretty similar?
I would say that's something I'm continuing to like learn. We are still learning like how to properly deload for competitions. We've varied that multiple times, still figuring out like what sounds good to eat in between. I think those are all things I'm learning. Definitely learned like some of my body parts just tend to like blow up more during competition, and like doing a better job like taking care of those. So I'd say it's a constant learning process throughout the games as a teenager and at the MACC and in Wodapalooza, just all of those things, just like constantly learning. And I think it's going to be kind of like a lifelong, like as long as I'm doing CrossFit, just like continuing to learn and grow and gain that extra 1%.
That's awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about the going through the COVID period in CrossFit, right? The generation before you didn't really have to do that, right? Did that add preparation to your mindset that you couldn't get anywhere else, right? Things are being taken away from you that you take for granted. How did that work on your mindset, and what did you do to get through that?
So
both as a coach and an athlete.
When COVID started, I was getting ready for the 16 to 17-year-old games as a 16-year-old. And I was just realizing like this situation is not in my control. The only thing that is my attitude and the effort that I put in every day. So luckily we happened to get like a bunch of stuff for basement right before COVID hit, like knowing nothing about COVID. So it was perfect timing and I just kept on training. But I was dealing with a pretty bad back injury at the time. I was in a back brace for a period of time. I just kind of kept on training through it. And then once the games got canceled, I kind of like naturally used that as a time to slow down, let my body recover. And then, give my body time to heal so I could be ready for the next season. And COVID definitely, Nick can go more in this. We've definitely had our ups and downs with COVID just through this last Wodapalooza, through the games. But I think it's just like realizing not everything is in our control, letting our bodies rest when we need rest, but just like focusing what we can't control and just maximizing that every day.
Yeah. The one thing that I say about CrossFit is just like, it's the only sport that I know where you train 99.9% of the year and you only compete. These are rough numbers, barely less than 1% of the year. I played basketball in college. So you play basketball for, 6 months, so half the year. So, for COVID to affect us where you're doing all that training, I don't think we did any other competitions that year. And then all of a sudden the games gets canceled. And so that was, like you said, that's not really anything we'd experienced before. And a lot of times with my coaching style, I rely on my experience to be relatable to the athletes, to Olivia, to anybody that I'm talking to. And I had no prior experience to basically my sport being canceled. And, that was our third year going into the games. We wanted to go have a good showing, and, you're chasing that all year, and it's going to pay off. And, Olivia being 16, I think she was 16 that year, that was a tough pill to swallow in the moment. And, again, we were able to still work out, but it was also a time to say, hey, how can we have fun another way and just work out? And Olivia actually and I, we only live about 3 miles from each other. So things were shut down, but we were still able to get together pretty consistently. And it was a time that we grew, but it was a tough time in the moment because, again, we didn't have anything to really hold on to. There was no time frame to when it would get better. Just like it was crazy for everybody, but for us, we just stuck together.
So you think it strengthened your relationship going through that?
Yeah. Definitely.
Like I said, he had just recently moved right down the street. So I was still seeing him every day. He would come over, he would work out. We would have some other people from our gym who are also higher level come and work out. So it's like not much change other than just the environment we were in, but we were still prepping for the games. We still did like a mock games weekend, like on my street where I live, and carrying the sandbag in front of all the house. Probably got some weird looks there, but yeah, like not much like really changed for us. And I think it just goes to show like this special bond that we have, like we can adapt and like we attacked everything together. And yeah, it didn't really feel like too much change for us, just grew us stronger.
So let's talk about Wodapalooza. So your first big competition going into this season. And it, like I told you before we got on the air, that was my first time at Wodapalooza, and people try to describe it. You cannot describe it. It is insane.
No, you just have to go.
Yeah.
You just have to go.
Yeah. It is insane. I think it is more fun to attend than the games, because everybody's kind of there having a good time. Nobody's really under a ton of pressure, but you went out on that floor with some pretty big names and you threw down again. So it was kind of your first time back since the MACC. And how did you feel overall with this performance compared to that one?
overall, I felt much better with my performance. With that being said, like I had a lot of strong performances in the handstand walk event and the strength event. I was super proud of myself in the swim event. My swimming has come a really long way. So I was really happy from that aspect. And I also was just happy in the aspect of there were a lot of workouts I did not execute well at all. And just how I was kind of saying for the MACC, like I was still able to hang in there and be competitive. So it just made me think like, okay, if I can have workouts that I just didn't execute well, and I know with a couple simple fixes and hard work in the gym, like I can get better at those, like I can really have a future, and I believe I can qualify to the games this year. So for the good workouts that went well, I was, super encouraged. For the workouts that didn't go well, obviously they're hard to swallow, but it was just encouraging, like, okay, like I can do this, like even with some bad workouts, like I am within striking distance. And yeah, definitely Wodapalooza, like I did not good in workouts I thought I would do a lot better at. So definitely just like one of the main reasons we wanted to go down there was to grow. And we definitely did that. We faced a lot of adversity, and overall it was just a really great experience.
So Nick, how well does Olivia take the constructive criticism during a weekend like that? Or does she beat herself up too much with criticism?
Does beating herself up, she's really come a long way with that. I mean, the difference between 14 and 18, 18, there's just a major amount of growing that happens there just naturally. And then her having a lot of great experience, she's grown a lot in that aspect. When we get to competition weekend, she really does get into, a different type of mode. She really doesn't get caught up in too much stuff. I probably have gotten good at knowing when to say things and when to maybe not say something, but typically we keep it pretty short and sweet. I'll ask a couple of questions, I'll say a couple of things, and she typically needs a digestive time to digest. But I mean, there's multiple times that she bounces back even faster than I would even expect. I'll just be like, hey, that didn't go how you wanted to go, but all you can do, the only way you'll feel better about that is having a good next event. And she'll just be like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Like that doesn't mean I can't have a great next event. And again, that's what you want to see. But sometimes it's tough when you're having some tough situations or you feel like you embarrassed yourself or whatever. But I mean, each competition I see like another step where she's just focused. She wants to be there. She wants to get into those situations. She wants to be competing. She's a competitive person. So she's really come so far in that aspect when it comes to competition weekend. She just kind of gets into that mode.
Apparently I need to get coaching from you because I still beat myself up on the daily workout I do at CrossFit Polaris. So it takes me to
that.
Definitely learning. He definitely has to help me with that. Just like on a day-to-day basis as well, just with all the little things. Yeah, he's definitely still guides me.
So you had 2 top 5 performances at Wodapalooza in Dale and the Maya Bar Complex. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of times they say that teenagers coming into the open division, the piece they miss is the strength. And you crushed the Maya Bar Complex.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So how do you assess that with your strength levels at 18 against the veteran field?
Yeah, so that workout was a big surprise. I knew I could lift all of those weights, but I did not think I would place as well as I did in that workout. So that was one where I'm like, I'm stronger than I think I am. And we definitely put an emphasis on strength, like getting stronger, because we realized like being a teenager, a lot of these people in the elite division have been lifting weights longer than I most likely have. So we did put a lot of emphasis in strength and realized I am a pretty strong athlete and it is an area that I can capitalize in. But then on the other side, I was like a lot of the metcons that I thought I would do better at, like I didn't. So putting like more focus into that now as we get ready for like open quarterfinals and semis.
So what was your favorite event from the weekend?
Definitely the handstand walk Dale. It was just really, really cool. I was looking forward to that event all weekend. I love a good handstand walk sprint event. I like sprint events and I love handstand walking. So like to put those two together, was just amazing. And it being like late Sunday night under the lights, it was a chaotic day with the rain and the event getting changed and getting canceled. But like the fact that it wasn't canceled, that event wasn't canceled, and we like had that event to shine, like going head to head with the top dogs, and it being like that elimination style was like really fun to like see your name like being called out and like getting to run on the floor again and like compete for that top spot. So finished second, which is a little disappointing, but overall I was really, really happy with that event.
A little disappointing. Yeah, I think we need to work a little more on the beat ourselves up there, Nick.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't disappointed. Just first would have been nice.
Yeah. I get it. I think I get it. All right. So what was the biggest learning moment from the weekend? And we'll go with Nick first on this one.
Oh, biggest learning moment? Yeah, I would just, oh gosh, that's tough. It's so tough. Just general CrossFit talk, I would say just the speed at which work needs to be done. You know, just getting that enhanced perspective of here's how fast the best in the world go. Because again, one of the pros of having a camp of elite athletes is you get a chance to compare and contrast right in front of your eyes, where with me and Olivia, it's I get to see how fast Olivia can go. And then I've got to kind of imagine how fast other athletes can go. So, and again, other athletes figured out without camps. I'm not necessarily making too big of an excuse there, but for me going to Wodapalooza, that's always the type of stuff that I'm like, okay, I get a chance to see all these athletes now. It's time to collect as much information as possible. And I would say just the general speed, when the top athletes know it's time to be aggressive, you know, that's a whole nother level that they'll go after it. So just soaking that in and just thinking about how do I get Olivia to be more explosive, to be faster, to know when to turn it on, when it's not time not turn on. So just piecing things together. So it's kind of just that the one big giveaway is just how fast the elites can really go when the money is on the line.
And what are your thoughts, Olivia?
I would say he did that pretty well. Definitely as the field advances and as CrossFit progresses as a sport, I feel like longer and longer workouts are being treated as sprints. It's not just 5 minutes and under anymore. It's like, I feel like anything now, like up to like under 20 minutes, I mean, people aren't holding back. So definitely just like getting better at MetCons. Like I said, day one, I thought I would do better than I did. I didn't. So it's just getting faster at those things. Like I said, some execution things. There were like some things just from like a lack of experience, like sometimes holding how I like held the kettlebells in one workout, or like how I strategized the first workout with the flip sled. Just realizing there is like so many of the little 1%, like that only experience can really teach you. So just like capitalizing on all of those. And I think that was what was so great about Wodapalooza. Even though there was a lot of events I would have liked to do so much better at, like I learned so much. And I think that really put me in a great spot for this upcoming season.
Were you able to make any friendships or relationships with any of the other competitors while you were at Wodapalooza?
I'm trying to think. Paige
we
Powers,
don't talk to people.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I will say it was definitely intimidating, it being like I didn't know really anybody competing before. So it's definitely intimidating to start because you have like all these people who either been to the games or like trained together and have all these relationships. So, you know, at first, you know, it's hard because like I'm definitely out there aware, you know, I'm the youngest one and everyone has all these relationships. And it's a little intimidating. But like I was saying, like Paige Powers, I've competed with her as a teenager before. So talked to her, met Annika, super nice. We hung out. Paige Semenza was super nice, kind of like taking me under her wing, you know, letting me know if I need anything. Overall, though, like I had no bad experiences. Everybody was super nice. Danny Spiegel, super nice. Everyone who I talked to was like super nice, encouraging, especially that last day when the weather was like chaotic and we didn't do our first event till like 6 p.m. and no one had any idea what the workout was or what time we were going. It's almost like everyone was just kind of like helping each other out. Everyone's like we were like really in it together. Like it was just like a really cool experience. So no, everyone super, super nice overall.
What about you, Nick? Did you make any connections and contacts while you were there?
Definitely. So some brand new, like, I mean, meeting Brett, Annika's coach. I don't know if I met anybody for the first time and really got a chance to talk outside of just shaking their hand. But again, this is maybe 1 or 2 times out of the year that I'm able to talk to some of my buddies. So I get a chance to pick their brain a little bit more and just see what their thoughts are. But I mean, this is a networking event for me. So I mean, it's kind of strange because I'm trying to be super present for Olivia for training, but I'm also, again, trying to meet as many coaches as I can, talk to as many people as I can to just learn and see what people are doing and to just share ideas. So I would say the new, never met before, met for the first time would be Coach Brett and Annika. But from there, just meeting friends from years past and, just listening to all the smart guys talking. Again, when you're back there with the elites, everyone wants it. Everyone's spending all year learning. And so if you got your ears open, you can learn.
So I didn't make the cut, Nick?
Nah, yeah, exactly. Right. Well, you caught me in a moment of weakness. I was at that food court and I was like, oh, hey. Nah, you definitely. Oh, shoot. Yeah, you made the cut for sure. I was thinking coaches. Yeah. But I met you for the first time.
Just giving you a hard time, man. So the season's coming like right around the corner. What is it? Like 16 days to the open, something like that?
Yeah. Soon.
Yeah, way too soon. So what does the season look like? Are you going to just train through the open because that top 10% isn't a difficult mark for you to hit?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to train through that part and then just try to peak at semis this year?
Yeah, so definitely the focus is qualifying to the 2022 CrossFit Games. So definitely have a big goal on semifinals. So throughout the open and throughout quarterfinals, making sure I don't feel awful throughout the competitions, but like keeping that main goal in mind of like being ready and building on my weaknesses for semifinals.
Agreed, Nick?
Yeah. I mean, that pretty much sums it up. I mean, it's not that I'll take the open lightly, so to speak, or same thing with quarterfinals. I mean, there's still some value and there's still a lot of things you can kind of learn about, what athletes are doing, where they're at that time. But as far as what we're going to be drilling, we're trying to go to the 2022 CrossFit Games, and that's what we're focused on.
So when you punch your ticket to the games, what's the first thing you're going to do to celebrate?
I love ice cream. Probably ice cream.
Yeah, just say it.
Graeter's ice cream from Cincinnati, Ohio is the best. As far as and Lindt chocolate. And my friend makes me some pretty killer brownies too. Big chocolate fan. So that's probably the things that come to mind.
Okay,
but just also just like enjoying it with friends and family because it's been like a long journey and it's definitely been hard. My family is like given up so much for me to do this. They want this just as much as I do, just like enjoying it with them. And I think that's something I'm like trying to like learn how to do, just like throughout like the day to day, just like be present and enjoy it. Cause it's really, Nick and I are the ones like most people see, but we have like so much love and support from so many people. So I think it's just like enjoying it with them and realizing like it is a group thing. Just from like so many people deal with me after like hard training days and I'm in a bad mood or like some days when I just want to cry. Like there's so many people that just like are there for me and like love me and support me. So I think just like celebrating it with all of them. Like I'm really, really excited for when that day comes, when I qualify to the games, and just like it's a moment like I'm like really, really looking forward to, and it's like I cannot wait.
For sure.
So you said the magic word, as being an Ohio guy myself, Graeter's ice cream.
Yeah.
So I got to know, what's the go-to flavor?
Okay, so go-to if I only get one, it's black raspberry chocolate chip, their signature. But I'm a big mocha fan, the coffee with chocolate, big Buckeye Bliss fan. Those are like the top 3 that like go in the rotation.
So mine is black cherry chocolate chip.
That one, I really like
Ooh.
that one too. I like that one a lot too. That's my mom's favorite.
Yeah, that's my number one. And then the black raspberry chocolate chip if they don't have that one.
So
Wow.
good. So I can talk about ice cream all day long.
The funny thing is
Finally, we're talking about something cool here, some ice cream talk.
my co-hosts are adamant that fruit should not be in an ice cream.
Okay, well, like, okay, they're black. Normally, I am a diehard chocolate fan. Like, there's never too much chocolate. Their black raspberry chocolate chip, though, is you gotta try it. It's so good, so good.
So I wish my one co-host was here. Her name is Amy. Her husband used to work at Graeter's.
Oh.
And if they messed up one of the French pots, they had to take it home.
Shoot.
Yeah. She was like, he would mess up stuff all the time.
Sarah, who high level also trains CrossFit high level with Nick as her coach. The Graeter family lives just like a couple houses down from her. So like she, like all the friends that they have like in her community, like the Graeter family is always there, you know, providing ice cream and all that stuff. So I know where they live, and it's just like, yeah, definitely jealous of her.
So there's no restraining order, is there?
No.
No. But could be someday.
Could be.
Yeah. Well, I am super excited for both of you in this upcoming season. I can't wait to see you at semis, to cheer you on, and hope you get to punch that ticket to the games this year.
Well, great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Scott. It's been fun.
Yeah. Thank you guys. And we'll definitely have you
Thank
back
you so much.
as we move through the season.
Great.
Cool. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Scott.